Quinnipiac men's basketball guard Cameron Young entered the weekend 40 points shy of 1,000 career points. Did he join the club, or will it have to wait?
And the men's ice hockey team is ranked among the highest in college hockey. We have all the highlights, analysis, and more coming up on Sports Paws.
Welcome into Studio 125 for the first Sports Paws episode of the new year. I'm Robyn Brown.
And I'm Kyle Levasseur. Robyn, Quinnipiac fired its women's volleyball coaching staff shortly after its season ended, but the Bobcats now have a new head coach. Former University of Oklahoma assistant coach Kyle Robinson took over at Quinnipiac last Monday. Before coaching at Oklahoma, Robinson played for Team USA from 2000 to 2006 and coached 4 years with USA Volleyball's college and development teams. Robinson has coached a total of 21 all-conference first-team players since he started coaching in 2006. Quinnipiac's ninth volleyball coach also led LIU Brooklyn, where he was a four-time Northeast Conference Coach of the Year, the first person to ever win the award 4 times. Also, the Philadelphia native was just inducted into the Eastern Intercollegiate Volleyball Association Hall of Fame last year. Quite a resume from Robinson.
Yeah, Kyle, Sports Paws took a leave of absence due to winter break, but our beat reporters are here to catch you up on all the action you might have missed.
With 7 wins in 8 games, the Quinnipiac men's ice hockey team skated into winter break as the 5th best team in the country. The Bobcats kept rolling with a 6-0 win over Colgate on Long Island, where head coach Rand Pecknold recorded his 500th career win, 3rd among active Division I NCAA coaches, and captain Chase Prisky notched his 100th career point. After that, the Bobcats lost and tied in 2 overtime games to Colgate and then Cornell. Quinnipiac rebounded to crush Dartmouth 5-1 the following Friday night, but suffered a close 2-1 defeat to Harvard to cap off that weekend. Brendan Fortunato put on a clinic against his former team in QU's final game over the winter period, scoring twice, including the game winner with 2.5 seconds left, the latest goal scored by Quinnipiac to win a game since 2011 to beat Boston University for the first time in school history. A goaltending situation update: Keith Petrozelli started the January 4th matchup against Colgate, was pulled in the overtime loss, and has not seen the ice since. Andrew Shortridge started the remaining 4 games for the Bobcats over break. Lastly, captain Chase Prisky was nominated for the Hobie Baker Award, given to the best player in college hockey. I talked to an NHL team official who believes Prisky should be a top 3 candidate for the award. The Washington Capitals prospect is currently 2nd in fan voting. Now on to my guy Josh Silverman up at Lender Court with an update on the women's basketball team.
Thanks, JB. Here's everything you need to know about the Quinnipiac women's basketball team. Right now, they have a 13-6 overall record, 8-0 in conference play. They're the only unbeaten team in the conference, and not only that, they've won 39 straight conference games, setting a MAC record. 3 times this season, they've turned opponents over 30 or more times. 4 times this season, they've held opponents to under 40 points. Now, over the break, Jen Fay, Erin McClure, and Paula Charbonnet all reached the 1,000-point milestone. Brittany Martin is shooting 37% from 3. Paula Charbonnet is shooting 40% from the field. Erin McClure and Edel Thornton both have 39 steals on the season, and Jen Fay is 200 points. The Bobcats are back in action this Friday at Monmouth. Brian, what do you got for the men's team?
With that miss, it's a good thing that Quinnipiac does not have Josh Silverman on their roster, but it is a good thing that they have Cam Young on their roster. Young scored his 1,000th point of his college career with Quinnipiac on Sunday against St. Peter's, and Cam Young, he has been a star for the Bobcats so far this season, averaging over 20 points per game. He is the go-to guy on this team and the sole reason why the Bobcats are in 3rd place in the MAC so far this season, right where we expected them to be at the beginning of the year in the coaches poll. They were voted in a tie for 3rd place with Iona. That's exactly where they are, behind Canisius and Ryder. I would expect them to be like that about the rest of the season, within that 2nd to 4th spot in the MAC, heading into the MAC tournament in Albany in March. Good thing for the Bobcats, Kevin Marfo is back. He made an impact against St. Peter's. He had 9 points, 5 rebounds. He makes Abdoulaye Boundu a better player, where they can switch off a little bit. So the Bobcats are in good hands with those 2 down low. Up top, Rich Kelly is back after an injury at the beginning of the season. Tyrese Williams has picked his game up So the Bobcats are in good hands up there. All around, Jacob Rigoni playing better, the bench is playing better, and the Bobcats are looking like a sure threat in the MAC so far this season.
And while most Quinnipiac students were home enjoying their winter break, the women's ice hockey team was hard at work. The biggest news coming out of break was that senior captain Melissa Samoskevich was selected to the NWHL draft as the second overall pick by the Connecticut Whale. To start off 2019, the team began a 7-game road trip. In their first 2 games, they picked up an important 4 points in the ECAC with wins over Dartmouth and Harvard. The Bobcats picked up their road trip suffering 2 tough losses to top-ranked opponents with a 5-2 loss.
Well, Jonathan Banks teased the men's hockey game versus Holy Cross, so let's take it to the Frank Perotti Jr. Arena and see how they did. Holy Cross coming from Atlantic Hockey. This is Quinnipiac's last non-conference game of the year. We'll take it to the first period. Brogan Rafferty with the puck, passes behind his back. No look to Desi Burgart, who scores his 3rd goal on the year. The freshmen have been scoring non-stop this year, Robyn, for Rand Pecknold's squad between Ethan DeYoung, Wyatt Bongiovanni, and it was so nice. We'll see it twice on this one. Desi Burgart bar down, giving Quinnipiac a 1-0 lead. The Bobcats actually outshot the Crusaders, get this, 18-1 in the first period, but at the end of the day, it's only the goals that matter, and it was just a 1-0 game because of how well the Crusaders goaltender was playing. We'll take it to the second period. Bobcats up 2-1 at this point. Alex Whalen to William Falstrom. I was talking about the freshman, Robyn, and here they are again. Falstrom with a goal to put Quinnipiac up 3-1, and then later on, Brandon Fortunato in front of the net makes a nice move. The patience from the senior, rips a goal. He's been on an absolute tear lately. The reigning ECAC Hockey Player of the Week, giving Quinnipiac a 4-1 lead, and they would not look back, getting their 18th win of the season.
Kyle, let's take a dive into the current ECAC standings. Quinnipiac right in the middle of the 12-man pack at number 6. Kyle, 10 games still remaining in the regular season for the Bobcats, and 4 of those against either number 2 Yale or number 3 Clarkson. A great quantity of time remains for the Bobcats yearning to climb that ladder.
Yeah, there's a lot of really great games coming up left on the men's ice hockey schedule.
Men's ice hockey also, Kyle, making some noise in the national polls, rising to the number 5 spot and receiving 1 first-place vote in the USCHO.com Division I men's poll. This is the first time Quinnipiac has received a first-place vote in the poll since the 2016 preseason, after the Bobcats reached the national championship game.
Got ahead of myself a little bit, Robyn. I was ready to bring in MJ Baird, and here he is, our sports director. MJ, one of the big stories that happened over winter break was Rand Pecknold winning his 500th career game. When it's all said and done with coaches, a large part of their legacies come down to wins, and Pecknold has plenty of them. How else would you describe his legacy?
Well, Kyle, it's really hard to determine someone's legacy when they're still active. So I'm going to try to do it for you. But if I had to pick one word, it would be transformative. Rand Pecknold has transformed this Quinnipiac men's ice hockey program. From when he came here in 1994, the team was Division II. In 1998, they move up to Division I. And now, here we are, 2019. This team is a perennial college hockey powerhouse, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 seasons. So if you think about it, in 2006, Quinnipiac joins ECAC Hockey, a big move for this program, trying to gain more recognition. 2007, they build this beautiful facility formerly known as the T-Bank Sports Center, now the People's United Center. And now, 2013 and 2016, this team has reached 2 Frozen Fours, the pinnacle of college men's ice hockey. And I asked, Rand Pecknold, okay, 500, this is great. What's next for you? And his answer, Kyle, pretty simple, 501. So humble but proud.
Well, MG, 501 wins and counting. This season already obtained 18 wins, now on his 25th season at the helm. What is making him so successful?
Well, Robyn, I don't know the answer to this myself, so I went out and tried to find it from a couple different people. And the first 2 I went to were his assistant coaches, Joe Dumais and Bill Riga. And the unanimous answer was this: attention to detail. Rand Pecknold, the kind of coach that does not leave any stone unturned, whether that's scouting for an opponent or in-game adjustments. He wants to make sure his teams are always doing the right thing. Granted, he has a great hockey mind, and in his 25th season, he's seen so much hockey, but the adaptiveness of Pechtold behind the bench and to relay that information to his players on the ice who can physically make the changes, because after all, the coach can't play the game. He can only do everything before and after with trying to prep his team. This is something you see a lot from professional sports teams, and Pechtold has done a great job with it here at Quinnipiac.
That's right, MJ. If you hear two things about Pechtold, it's always, one, he's a family man, and two, it's his attention to detail. But looking at this season, Quinnipiac sits at 18-5-1 overall, and there's 10 games left in the regular season. Do you expect the Bobcats to maintain their level of success?
You know what, Kyle? Yeah, I do. Like you said, there's 10 games left in ECAC play, right? 6 of those are against teams that are lower than them in the standings. Quinnipiac right now sitting in that 6th position, but that's deceiving because they're really only 2 points back of that #1 spot. So really, if you think about it, they have 1 game in hand over a couple different teams. So really, they're right there. They're in the top 3 if you think about it in terms of points. I expect Quinnipiac come the end of the year to be a top 2 team in ECAC hockey, but more importantly, and I think what the team cares more about as well, Kyle, I expect them to be a top 4 team in the pairwise rankings. Now, what does that mean? Well, A, that means they make it to the NCAA tournament, whether they win ECAC hockey or not. But 2, they'd be a #1 seed if my prediction were to hold true in whatever section of the bracket they're in. They could be in Manchester, New Hampshire, or even locally in Providence, Rhode Island, if they were to have a good enough seed. So I expect that out of them, and their 11-1 out of conference record is a big reason why I expect that, Kyle.
MJ, thank you so much for joining us. It's going to be really fun watching this team down the stretch. It's time for a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we'll see if the Quinnipiac women's basketball team could extend its 6-game winning streak.
And after a 4-game homestand, men's basketball hit the road to New York to face the Marist Red Foxes, where the Bobcats break their 2-game losing streak.
Welcome to the WQAQ Morning Show. Dan Ball and Emma Spagnolo joining you here from the QAQ studios in Hamden. And Emma, it is that time of year again.
Quinnipiac women's basketball returned their core roster, and Kyle and I have returned to tell you about them. Domination, the word used to describe the play of Quinnipiac women's basketball through the first 8 games of conference play. The Bobcats' cumulative margin of victory, 31+ points. So let's take this highlight. Siena in town to face off against Quinnipiac at the People's United Center, happening on Kids Day, Kyle. And this place was rockin'. We'll head to the first quarter. Look at these screaming fans. Let me tell you, my eardrums ruptured a bit. I won't lie. In the first we go, Kyle. After 5 minutes, both teams held scoreless. Brittany Martin with the ball to Paige Warfel, and she will end that drought, getting Quinnipiac the first numbers on the board. Into the second quarter we go. Quinnipiac, known for turning their defense into the office. Aaron McClure, hand in the passing lane, cookie out of the cookie jar all the ways, and the layup is good. 10-2 Quinnipiac lead. Jen Fay off to Taylor Hurd. Hurd you! All the fans were saying in the arena. Hurd would finish with 5 points. In the third quarter we go. Siena did in fact score. This would be only 2 of Siena's 31 points in the entire game. And now Aaron McClure to Mackenzie DeWeese, off to Edel Thornton from Ireland. She said, let me join the party. Nails that three-pointer right there. And here, Kyle, we're in the fourth closing minutes, but this team does not quit. A missed shot. Paige Werfel, board, finished it. Paige Werfel would go on to score 10 points, grab 10 boards, earning her first double-double in her career.
Slow start to an electric atmosphere, but once Paige hit the three, we started to just settle in, and great second quarter heading into the locker room, and we just didn't look back.
Quinnipiac followed up its win against Siena by crushing Iona 76-39 yesterday. The Bobcats are now on an 8-game winning streak thanks to strong scoring performances from Brittany Martin, Aaron McClure, and Edel Thornton. If 8 wins in a row and a 37-point road win doesn't impress you, well, Quinnipiac has also not trailed in a game since playing Monmouth 5 games ago when the Hawks scored the opening basket. And the Bobcats' 8-game winning streak has just been against MAC opponents, which puts them at 8-0 atop the conference. The Rider Broncs sit at second place with a 6-1 record. They'll come to Hamden this Sunday at 2 p.m. Marist is third in MAC play at 7-2, despite owning the best overall record at 15-6. Quinnipiac will face Marist at home the end of February after winning by 7 points in Poughkeepsie earlier this month.
Kyle, women's basketball, not the only team driving a Mustang, cruising past opponents. We'll take a look at this graphic upcoming from this men's game against Marist. Cam Young, of course, leading the pack, 29.6 rebounds. Rich Kelly in double digits, Abdulai Bundu with 14 points as well. Kyle, the Bobcats shot 54.5% from the field and knocked down 15 triples from three-point range. Absolutely amazing.
And the Bobcats returned to Hamden yesterday to face the St. Peter's Peacocks. Cam Young entered the game just 11 points shy of 1,000 career points. And that's with his first point, Robyn, coming as a senior after transferring and not playing his junior year. There you see Cam Young just 11 points away. It's the Cam Young show here in Hamden. First half. He needs 8 points at this point in the game. Top of the key, Cam Young for 3. Now he's 8 points away. Bobcats with the lead. He's loving it. He's on a mission right here. Later on in the half, Rich Kelly is going to get a pass. Looks for an open lane, makes a move, drives and swings it out to Cam Young. Corner 3. Young just 5 points away from 1,000. Here he is, 3 points away. Will he get it? Top of the key. Cameron Young, Quinnipiac's newest 1,000-point member. You see it there, he's loving it. Huge smile on his face, and his teammates are just giving him so much support there. Second half, let's go to the actual game now, Robyn, and see what's going on. Tyrese Williams with a nice step-in move, finishes at the hoop for a tough layup. 46-32 lead for Quinnipiac. Monmouth, though, Devontae Turner's going to make a nicer move. Steps back for 3. Quinnipiac still up 55-39, and now Jacob Rigoni with a 3 of his own from the corner. Rigoni finishes with 16 points. Bobcats win 77-58.
I just think our guys are executing better than they were last year. You know, we have guys on the floor who are more familiar with what we're trying to get done, with experience and wisdom probably, and more confidence.
With 1,017 points, Young is the 41st player in Quinnipiac history to reach 1,000 points. After transferring from Arizona Western College, Young played just 8 minutes as a junior at Quinnipiac. He took the MAC by storm his senior year, scoring 622 points. That's averaging 18.8 per game. Young scoring at an even higher rate as a grad student with 20.8 points per game, which leads the conference. Here's Baker Dunleavy on his leading scorer.
When I took the job, I'd say, who's Cam Young? No, I mean, it's incredible what he's done. I made the comment earlier. Right when we kind of got started with last season, he started pretty aggressively and very capably offensively. So he brings that to the table. He's allowed us to coach him and teach him and get him better, but he's a talented offensive player. I think the things that I'm so proud of that are starting to shine through is his increased defensive effort, his rebound the ball, and then today, as you saw, his willingness to pass the ball in a crowd. Teams double him, just making the right play as opposed to forcing shots. So those are things he's developed, and it's taken a lot of hard work, but he's put it in. Really impressed.
The Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference also just as impressed by Young's milestone performance. Young earned his second MAC Player of the Week award after tallying 57 points in back-to-back wins. Young has averaged 24.1 points per game so far in MAC play. Kyle, now when we take a look at the MAC standings in a moment, you will see that Quinnipiac's holding their head high in that number 3 spot, tied with Iona, a team they have not yet played a contest against this year. The most radical statistic, though, coming from those 3 conference losses, Kyle, all 3 games have been decided by 5 points or less. Each game easily could have ended with a reverse result.
Well, it's time for another break, but when we come back, we'll see how Quinnipiac women's hockey fared against Minnesota Duluth.
A little Eastern versus Western hockey showdown, plus the top 5 plays of the week are heading your way.
Welcome to the WQAQ Morning Show. Dan Ball and Emma Spagnolo joining you here from the QAQ studios in Hamden. And Emma, it is that time of year again.
Welcome back to Sports Paws. We're happy to have you. The Quinnipiac women's ice hockey team traveled to Duluth, Minnesota for a Friday and Saturday series, its furthest road trip of the year. After traveling over 1,300 miles, the Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs defeated the Bobcats 3-1 on Friday. Freshman Lexia Gia shined for Quinnipiac, scoring the team's only goal and winning 13 of 15 faceoffs. Despite Gia giving Quinnipiac an early 1-0 lead, Minnesota Duluth scored 3 unanswered goals on 29 shots.
They say sports and short-term memory go hand in hand, which is exactly what the Bobcats needed as they suited up for part 2 of this matchup exactly 24 hours later. The Bobcats went on to defeat the Bulldogs 2-1, riding the coattails of sophomores Taylor House and Laura Lundblad. House scored her 6th goal of the year in the 3rd period, while Lundblad netted the game winner just 9 seconds later. The Bobcats now return home on a high note after 9 consecutive road games.
The Bobcats' out-of-conference weekend means 2 things. 1, their ECAC hockey record stays at 6-7-1, and 2, they also didn't pick up any conference points. Rensselaer and St. Lawrence each had 3-point weekends and surpassed Quinnipiac in the standings. The Bobcats are now 7th in the conference. The top 4 teams will get first-round byes in the playoffs. You see Princeton, Cornell, and Clarkson are the 1, 2, and 3 teams, and 4 points ahead of the pack. Colgate, St. Lawrence, RPI, and Quinnipiac, those are the teams on the bubble fighting for that 4 seed.
Kyle, the weather report has a high of 15 degrees on Thursday, but track season has begun. Indoor track and field, that is. Quinnipiac opened their 2018-19 season at Yale with 3 Bobcats, placing first in individual events. The 4x800 relay team, including Emily Young, Mia Pessel, Danielle Marcone, and Melissa Solomon, finished in first place with a time of 9 minutes and 47 seconds.
Man, 15 degrees this Thursday. That makes it even harder to believe, Robin, that spring sports are back at Quinnipiac. The men's tennis team traveled down the street to Yale on Saturday and got shut out 7-0. Quinnipiac returns to action next Saturday when they travel to St. John's University for their second match in a 10-match road trip. Well, it's a vital upcoming weekend for conference play for both hockey and basketball teams. The number 5 nationally ranked men's hockey team travels to upstate New York to face St. Lawrence and the number 10 team in the nation, Clarkson. That's a huge matchup. The Golden Knights are 3rd in ECAC hockey, but only 1 point ahead of Quinnipiac. Women's hockey also faces St. Lawrence and Clarkson. Clarkson women's hockey is the 5th ranked team in the nation and reigning national champs, while St. Lawrence is vying against Quinnipiac for the final bye in the conference playoffs. Robin, how about you take basketball?
You know, Kyle, I think I'm most looking forward to men's basketball versus Canisius. I mean, Cameron Young is hot, scoring double-digit figures in every single game, and the amount of shots that they're hitting from deep range has just been so impressive, and it's leading the conference right now.
Well, as impressive as Cam Young's play is, we have something even more impressive. The top 5 plays of the week, and it's all men's hockey this week. So let's take a look at what's going on. Top 5 plays of the week. This is how you know you're back at Quinnipiac, Robin. The first Sports Paws of 2019. I'll start with play number 5. Odine Tufto with a nice pass to Ethan DeYoung. That one goes in the back of the net. Quinnipiac wins 5-1 over Dartmouth.
Kyle, play number 4, Harvard goalie right here, Michael Lackey, makes a diving save, gymnastic splints, preventing Quinnipiac from scoring.
Play number 3, back to men's ice hockey versus Dartmouth. Chase Prisky is up for the Hobie Baker. Initial shot is blocked, gets his own rebound, and passes to Alex Whalen for the one-timer. Another 5-1 win, Quinnipiac.
Play number 2, men's ice hockey at Boston University. Brandon Fortunato, facing his former team, caps off the end-to-end play with an easy finish in front of a 2.5 seconds left on that clock. Quinnipiac wins 4-3.
It's such an amazing story, Robin. 2 goals against his old team. But the top play of the week, if you love goalie saves, look at this one. Andrew Shortridge on his back makes an amazing glove save. Oh my gosh, I could watch that for days, Robin. Unbelievable. Before you leave us tonight, one former Quinnipiac student athlete earned the honors of the first ever Sports Paws Spotlight. Yeah, the former Quinnipiac men's soccer forward Rashawn Daly is now a part of Major League Soccer Club FC Cincinnati. Daly is the first ever Quinnipiac player to be drafted into the MLS, and he was taken with the 49th pick overall.
And Kyle, I saw on social media he's now in Florida for preseason training already, so congrats to Rashawn Daly.
And you know what else I saw on social media? That it's your birthday today, Robin. I had such a blast anchoring with you today on your birthday. I hope it was a good gift being able to talk about sports.
Perfect way to start off year 24, right?
Absolutely. Well, that's all the action that we have tonight. I'm Kyle Levasseur for Robyn Brown. That's all we have. Make sure to check out more of our content on Q30TV.com as well as Q30 Sports, our Twitter account. For everyone behind the scenes, Robyn Brown, MJ Baird, I'm Kyle Levasseur. We'll see you next time.